Hey everybody, Metalfro here with another vinyl collection video. I'm just going to show you a few bits I've picked up over the last few weeks, and I've got more than what I think will fit into one video, so we'll just get started with what we've got here. First up, everything that I got on a shopping trip here not too long ago, a few weekends ago. I saw this particular album and knew that I had to have it because the copy that I have is one that I bought at a thrift store probably 18 years ago, and it's in really sad shape, and so I thought this one, as you can see where the plastic is still sealed. This is of course Nazareth, Hair of the Dog, and if you're not familiar with this album or either of the singles on the album, then you've probably been living under a rock for the last 20 years. This of course has the band's interpretation of the classic song Love Hurts, which is just a complete radio classic, and then of course the title track Hair of the Dog, which was also a big rock radio hit back in the 70s when this came out. Far as I can tell, this is an original 1975 press. It was still sealed until I bought it. Don't know if you'll be able to tell or not, but it is a punch out, so there are holes punched in the top corners, which is unfortunate. Also unfortunate is the fact that it doesn't come with an inner sleeve of any kind, just the standard paper sleeve, but it looks exactly the same as my other 1975 copy on A&M Records, as you can see. So absolutely fantastic album. Arguably the band's best, though it could be said that some of their other works were high quality as well, but this one is just completely awesome. And so if you're a fan of 70s hard rock, or kind of, you know, the beginnings of what heavy metal became, then this is not one to be missed. Fantastic record. Another one that I must sadly admit I've only just recently picked up, because I've actually only recently become interested in the band, is the classic British Steel by Judas Priest. I'm not sure why it took me so long to get into these guys, but I guess with all the hype and all the things that I heard over the years, I thought, you know, when I finally listened to Judas Priest, I thought, this should have been heavier, or, you know, more hard-hitting. I was expecting Iron Maiden or something like that, but I've come to find out in the last several years that the new wave of British heavy metal, you know, had a lot of different bands and a lot of different sounds. This obviously is considered by some to be Judas Priest's best. I'm not sure I'd consider it to be their best, but it is a good album with some good stuff on it. I paid a little bit more for it than I probably should have. You know, it wasn't expensive per se, but it's not in the best shape. You know, the sleeve's in decent shape. It's got some ring wear that's obvious, some creases and so forth. And so it's not in as good a condition as I'd like. And, you know, unfortunately there's no inner sleeve, just the plastic sleeve. But this is a standard US Columbia CBS Records pressing, as you can see by the label there. Catalog number JC 36443. So I do believe this is actually from 1980. So anyway, glad to finally have this classic on vinyl. Of course, I've got 3 other Judas Priest albums on vinyl that I've had in my collection for a little while. I'll be sharing those on video at some point when I start to go through more of my collection. Another one that I saw and knew I had to pick up right away was this. Still sealed, brand new copy of Saxon's Lionheart album. And I gotta be honest, Saxon is one of those bands that I've enjoyed, but have never really got into heavily. Haven't really got into their stuff as much as I probably should. Fantastic group from the new wave of British heavy metal. Just a great example of the style. And unlike Judas Priest, who kind of took a detour into commercial metal territory with, well, I shouldn't say, because Judas Priest took a little bit of a detour into the commercial metal realm, I guess you could say, with Turbo in '85, and then they bounced back from that 3 years later with Ram It Down, which may have been less accessible and have less great songs, but at least, you know, kind of harkened back to their earlier metal sound. Saxon did the same thing in the mid '80s as well. They kind of took a detour into commercial metal land as a means of trying to break into America and so forth, and it didn't really work. They kind of disappeared off everybody's radar. The only other Saxon release that I own currently is The Power and the Glory on CD. I would like to get a vinyl copy of that. I do like that album. Everybody says it's not one of their best. That, you know, their earlier stuff is better, like Denim and Leather and so forth. But I do think it's a quality album. I like the songs. I think, you know, they certainly fit the new wave of British heavy metal style very well. But this is a great album. I was actually very surprised when I listened to it how quality the whole thing was, and just how good it sounded, how good the band sounds, and especially, if I can get the thing out of here, how good Biff Byford sounds on vocals. He just really hasn't lost, you know, the edge or the quality of his voice over the years. Here's the nice inner sleeve with lyrics printed on it, and then of course the sort of crest lions there. And it's a standard black vinyl, but it is nice. You can see it's got, you know, Saxon logo and album title, nice art style with that. Same thing with side B, real nice package. But I was very pleased with the album in terms of the songs, the music, and how everything sounded. I think it's great. I think it's I wouldn't say a return to form, because from the late 80s, or I should say from the early 90s forward, they had kind of they'd gone back to their more traditional metal sound. And so, you know, from the early 90s on, this is 2004 when this came out. And so this is one of those things that I think just kind of sits right nicely in the middle of what they've put out in the last 15 years or so. But fantastic stuff. It's got some real melodic tracks, one pseudo ballad, a couple of real barn burners, like the lead-off track, Witchfinder General, is another one of those great tracks. You know, more epic stuff like English Man of War. So personally, I think this is a great album. It's got a lot of good stuff on it. So if you're in the market for Saxon vinyl and you want something newer, this is one I'd recommend. I picked this up for about 20 bucks, and I think that's probably pretty standard price for it. So don't pay too much for it, but yeah, definitely a one to have. And finally, this isn't one that I was looking for, but it sort of fell into my lap. I went up to the counter at the store that I bought this stuff from, and the guy was looking through my records, and he saw the British Steel album. He said, "Oh, some Judas Priest, huh?" And I said, "Yeah." Finally taking the plunge and getting this classic on vinyl. And he said, "Well, I got something here that might interest you. You know, would you like it?" And he showed me, and he pulled out the Judas Priest Nostradamus vinyl box set. And kind of an interesting story. He apparently had a couple of them that he had ordered, but they were damaged, and so he couldn't really sell them because of how they were damaged. And I'll show you here in just a bit. But he had this behind the counter and wanted to know if I had any interest in it. And I was like, yeah, you know, even if it's a little bit damaged or whatever, I, you know, would certainly want it. And he's like, well, you can have it for free if you want. And so, of course, free is always good. But he pulled it out, and the gentleman who was there in the store with him kind of pulled it out so we could see. And I'll pull this out so you can look at the contents. One of the things that comes in the box set itself is a nice poster, and great sort of Four Horsemen apocalypse type poster. Great artwork on that. Absolutely fantastic item to have in the box set, which is of course in pristine shape. And then it's got 3 vinyl albums, and they come in these plastic sleeves, and they're not like anti-static sleeves. They're a thicker plastic sleeve, almost like what you can see to use for putting a full record in a sleeve inside. But I'll show you what's wrong here. I don't know if the camera will pick it up or not, but here's side A of the first record. It's difficult to see, and I don't think the camera's going to pick it up. But I think what happened is either the record got hot during shipping, or after being manufactured, maybe they put it in the sleeve too soon, and so it got a little bit of plastic, of that plastic on the record itself. Let's just kind of see here if I can get the right angle so you can kind of see. You can kind of see it's got some imperfection to it. But in any event, so this is one of 3 records. I'm going to attempt to clean this and see if maybe this is just residue that can be cleaned up. So I haven't done it yet. I'm kind of debating how I want to approach it, but I'm planning on trying to use just a mild cleaning solution to try and clean this off to see if I can play it. This, he said, was like an $80 or $90 box set, and because he couldn't sell it because of what happened to the record, he just gave it to me. So now, of course, having 2 of the 3 albums still be able to listen to is fantastic. And I'll show you in a moment, it comes with a 2 CD set and a hardbound booklet with all the lyrics. So it's still got the music, I can listen to it. But I'm going to attempt to clean this vinyl and see if there's a way that I can restore it to where it's at least listenable, if not, you know, in working condition. So that's record 1 of 3 that happens to have been damaged. The gentleman at the store went ahead and gave me a couple of nice paper plastic poly sleeves that I can store the other 2 albums in, so that they don't get damaged. So here's record 2 of 3. Nice label there, and just sort of a lightly artistic label there. So that was very nice of him. If you're ever in Lincoln, Nebraska, and you want places to buy vinyl, there's a couple of places, but this one in particular I'll give a shout out to, since I got this item for free, and pardon me, and I really think that he's got a nice little shop. It's not very big, and it doesn't really have much in the way of metal, but it is a good little shop, and that's Backtrack Records in Lincoln. So if you're ever in Lincoln, Nebraska area, Backtrack Records is a place to check out. They do have some nice vinyl selection if you're into classic rock or jazz or other things. You know, he's got some good stuff. This is vinyl number 3 in what looks to be a rather old paper sleeve that he provided to me. So here's side A, and then side B with the sort of Nostradamus himself imagery. Of course, I've got the 2 time units there. Oh, I guess the booklet is in the other room, so I will run and grab that. I had set this out so I could look at it and check it out, but this is the hardbound book that it came with in the case. You can see here in the case itself, it's got this nice little opening where the booklet sits, so you can, and then the little finger holes so you can pull that out and pop it out just like that. But fantastic hardbound booklet, nice little Illuminati design there on the back. Fantastic package, you know, one of the discs here, the others on the back page. Absolutely fantastic artwork, a nice little story that you can read behind the sort of history of the album, you know, a track listing, and then of course lyrics with a nice font and stylized booklet artwork. Absolutely fantastic package, you know, great art throughout, and something that if you're a fan of Judas Priest, and of course here's the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse again, as you saw on the poster. But if you're a fan of Judas Priest, even if Nostradamus is overblown as an album, if you're a collector and you like these sorts of, you know, over-the-top packages, this is very impressive. This is probably the most impressive piece that I own currently, and it's just a really, really nice set. I'm very impressed by the quality and just the overall presentation. Again, the artwork throughout the booklet is fantastic, very stylized, fits the storyline and so forth of the album and the whole Nostradamus theme very well. And then of course the second CD is here in the back of the book. So just a fantastic package, something that Judas Priest fans who are also vinyl fans who like this kind of way over the top collectible sort of pieces, you know, will want to get a hold of. You know, Judas Priest probably isn't quite as collectible as Iron Maiden, because there aren't quite as many pressings and bootlegs and, you know, different versions of things, but in terms of sheer packaging and quality of everything, this is fantastic. So Judas Priest fans should count themselves lucky that the band thought that it was a good idea to put together a collection like this, because this is absolutely just screams quality. And so I look forward to playing at least the 2 out of the 3 vinyl albums. I'm hoping that I'll be able to clean the first one up enough to where I'll be able to actually play it and use it. If not, I still have a nice collector piece that has, you know, diminished monetary value, but still has, you know, a certain degree of value just in and of itself because of what it is. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll have more for you soon. I have at least 2 more videos I need to make of recent vinyl acquisitions, and I've got some more coming in the mail in the coming weeks. So hopefully you'll be seeing more of me soon. Thanks for watching.